Hi, I wanted to talk to you today about your inner child work. Inner child work is supposed to connect us with potential, possibility, replug us into our imagination and our intuition. However, if it is not leading you towards more maturity, more accountability, more resiliency, if it is not increasing your ability to remain present without collapsing in the middle of struggle and strain, trial, and tribulation, if it isn't allowing you to stand more firmly in your values and principles, then it isn't really having the effect that it should. And you might need to look into different ways to increase your somatic awareness, work with your archetypes, practice radical self-love, which is radical accountability. It is radical kindness, being kind when it isn't convenient, when it doesn't gain you any show or any esteem or any ego boosts. If your inner child work isn't increasing your maturity, because we are reparenting our inner child. We are not tapping into our inner child in order to stay in these Peter Pan states of lack of accountability and just play and joy. Joy is not an ignoring or a bypassing of the grief and the struggle that we have. Nature, the world around us, other people are not going to quit being what they are just because we are engaging in inner child work. Inner child work is just reaching a point where we increase our possibility and our imagination. We are able to find more opportunities. Hold on. There was a person walking by, so of course the dogs are going to chime in. They're doing their job. But to get back to this inner child work, if your inner child work is not creating more safety, security, stability, competence is a big one, right? If it's not producing those kinds of things, then there are some deficits that you are needing to call yourself into. There is some accountability that you need to be holding yourself to, because we have enough people running around with Peter Pan syndrome because of the inner child work that they've done being incomplete. Okay, so start looking at practicing radical accountability. How can you increase your competency in what you are doing? You should be getting to a point with your shadow work and integrating the shadow and integrating the inner child where you have an increase in your ability to weather the storm without collapsing. And if you are finding that you are still collapsing, that you are still getting rocked completely off your foundation, then the work is incomplete. There's some somatic awareness, like I've said, somatic awareness, being able to drop in your body into the now that needs to occur. And there are lots of ways to do that. I have a whole community where we work on somatic awareness and we build on these archetypes in order to help us grow and increase our capacity for being able to handle life as it comes. It's not always going to be rosy. Joy holds grief with it. They are twins. They walk together. You cannot have one without the other, any more than you can have love without also experiencing indifference. And if these things, if the indifference and the grief are collapsing you, there's still work to be done. You haven't integrated it yet. And that doesn't mean that anything is wrong or that you have failed. There's just still growing to be done. Okay, but remember that the goal isn't to return to a child state. We're not trying to go back to our childhoods and relive our childhoods. We are trying to grow up into the adults that we were supposed to be had we been raised with emotional regulation skills, with awareness of what our body was communicating to us, awareness of the cycle and patterns that we live within. So if you're not there yet, keep going. It's coming. But if things are still making you collapse when they get hard, you still got work to do, love. That's all I've got. I love you.